Good morning everybody, here we are in the desert. The sky is blue, we've had a magnificent sunset, it's looking absolutely superb. Yesterday was a terrific day, we had some more dunes, we did the salt lakes, and salt lakes are nothing less than spectacular. They're pristine white, and from the red sand and the greenery, the contrast is just amazing. We did about 100 k's yesterday, which is pretty much on target, which seems to be all we can seem to get done in a day these days because the terrain is reasonably rough. Now today we're going to be heading over towards obviously Big Red and back into Birdsville, so this is actually our last day in the desert as such, which is actually very sad because it's been absolutely magnificent. The desert conditions are something you've just got to experience. We had a little fire last night, it was lovely, sat round, we had a beautiful vista of stars, the moon was up this morning, people went out taking shots up on the dunes, just absolutely sensational. Coffee, breakfast, good company, what more could you want?
Welcome to my desert soup kitchen. I've got some pumpkin soup here cooking away early this morning, and I'm sure it's going to draw the crowds later on as the smell and aroma starts to travel across the savanna plains here. We need a bit of energy to keep us going today because I think we've got quite a few more dunes to go. Yesterday was probably, I think, the best day that we've had, not that we've been in here for too many days. It really had quite a lot of good challenging sand dunes, and when you got to the top of those, you just had those beautiful sort of rippled tops that didn't have a footprint in them. Really, really pretty. And of course, towards the afternoon, we got onto those lovely salt lakes. So it's really been an amazing day. Yesterday just changing from probably June to June, so I can imagine today probably only going to get better. Well, we don't go back to too much of a metropolis back at Berrima, but it's certainly going to miss those open skies. Just the camping. We're getting into a good routine now. We've been doing it for quite a few days because we left 2 or 3 days before the trip began to do a bit of camping, so we're really getting into the swing of it now. Anyway, we've still got quite a bit to go. We've got next week. Looking forward to some changing scenery again.
Well, here we are, a beautiful, crisp and slightly chilly morning, a cup of tea. Yesterday was an amazing day. Today we're heading into Birdsville and the final dune of Big Red. Always a fun one, I suppose a little bit more iconic. What people like to think about the Simpson Desert is you either start with it or you finish with it. In our case, we'll be finishing with it. Yesterday was amazing, again, as always, just, you've got lots of dunes. The closest of the dunes to start off in the day towards the sparseness of the dunes towards the end of the day where we finished off on the salt plains and driving around the bottom of the salt lakes and all that sort of stuff, and they're just so white. Yes, enjoy the cup of tea, get ready, pack up and move on.
Next up, it's the Your 4x4 email competition.
Thanks, Simon. Our entry this week comes from Andrew Eady, and Andrew's written, "I love my 4x4 because it's my holiday on 4 wheels. I can jump in and know I can go anywhere. I love it."
Thanks for sending in that email. You've won yourself a Lightforce tack torch and stubby holder. And you're also in the running for the ARB twin motor portable compressor. For full details, visit the Your 4x4 website.
G'day, I'm Jason from Lightforce.
And I'm Stuart from Hoth Automatics.
Today we're going to talk about the trip so far. We left this morning, a beautiful campsite that we had a rip-roaring fire last night, and sort of went to bed about 10 o'clock with the stars just absolutely shining in the sky. So far we've been extremely lucky, not a cloud on the sky the last 3 nights, so the Simpson Desert has really turned it on for us.
Yeah, the weather's been sensational. It's blue skies every day, clear, dark, starry nights, and yeah, the fire was pretty sensational. What we've noticed today on the way out over towards Big Red and Birdsville is certainly the dunes have got a lot wider apart. There's a huge savanna area in between, so the pace does pick up a bit because there's quite a distance between the dunes now, so you're sort of increasing the average speed.
Certainly it made it a lot easier for us. The dunes are a lot further apart, up to 1 kilometre apart, so you're able to pick up some speed and get through them, being safe at all times, of course. One of the highlights for all of us today was actually seeing some camels. We've been tracking them for quite a few days and noticed a lot of tracks in the sand as we've been driving along. And finally today we saw one right up on the top of a dune. So we all sort of got out of our cars and had a bit of a look. Right in front of us, the thing walked slowly down the dune, across the savannah, and right basically was no more than 10 feet from us. We were just blown out how this camel just sat there, chewed like we were not even there. There was about 10 of us all sort of standing around taking photos. And young Samuel, Matt's son, was absolutely blown away. So he's got a great show and tell next time he goes to school. So it was a really fantastic time watching these camels. It was nice to see them in their own environment.
Yeah, they didn't seem to be bothered by us, so they were quite happy to walk along towards us, had a bit of a look if someone new came along.
They were looking at us as much as we were looking at them. And one of the real highlights for me today has been able to see a wedge-tail eagle in full flight. It was beautiful watching it soar up in the sky on the thermals, and a couple of brown eagles come to attack it, but it just moved out of their way, and it was just so much bigger than they were. So it was beautiful to watch it flying around.
So Alan, this is only my 3rd time into the Simpson Desert, but I believe you were here 30 years ago, I think you were saying earlier?
Yep, absolutely, and it was quite an adventure in those days. We're looking at what looks like now a hyperspatial bypass out there. When we came through, it was basically a series of wheel ruts running through the scrub, and the main navigation was looking for those little concrete things with the little metal plaques on top, which had numbers on them that told you basically where you were.
So I can't even imagine doing that. Most of my friends sort of consider me to be navigationally challenged, I think is the word. Since things like the HEMA Navigator came along, I've got a lot of confidence travelling out here with good maps and so forth. But the thought of basically just following those surveyor points, which aren't that easy to find, would have been a pretty exciting thing to do back then.
It was a lot of fun. I'll tell you, the other things that I've noticed from doing this trip is when we did it the first time, the guys we had